Good morning and welcome to the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation on a really beautiful morning. I assume we've all recovered from that hour of sleep we lost last spring and we're all fresh and recharged. It's been a drag on me all summer, but now I'm rejuvenated. And if any of you haven't noticed, we're coming alive. Yes. We're growing here. We have activities, more and more. And we had, for those of you that don't read the announcements, we're going to start putting them up on the screen. Now all you have to do is show up to read them. But today, after service in room 3, there's a new members class. Hope to see many of you, new people there. Next Sunday, after service, room 1, there's going to be a discussion on the not necessarily replacement, but the redefinition of the principles and sources. It's a long process that will end up at a vote eventually at General Assembly. Other events this week? I don't know, I didn't get Robert Tidwell, our director of Lifespan Religious Education, is home ill. He thinks he caught something on his quick sojourn to Detroit to celebrate Halloween. So that added a little bit of confusion to our morning. But anyway, welcome, and Reverend Maggie.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Do we have, is everything good with the camera? Do I need a pause here? Everything's good? Okay. Yeah, as long as it's as it should be. I'll start. Just a little PS to Alan's greeting is my hello to each and every one of you. It is wonderful to be here with you today. And a special welcome to those who have been away for a little bit, and we welcome you back. I know Vasu is here with us, yes. And we're very happy about that. So, yay! Also Karen and Lindy and so many beautiful people we're able to welcome this morning. And from my point of view, the announcements that go out on Thursday are not just announcements and not something to just scroll through. Alan, our board president, Alan Worley, he takes a lot of time to write those greetings from the president every week, and they're super important, especially for those of us who, are curious about the information and the changes that are coming and making our lives vibrant once again. We thank you for that. So pay attention to them like it's a love letter. How about that? You wouldn't pass that by, would you? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. We do open our service each week with a ringing of the bell. We ring it 3 times. Once, let me take this off. Once for those who came before. The Tongva and other native peoples who were the original stewards of this land and called it home long ago, as we do now. We also honor our ancestors and the founding members of this congregation that shaped it over 70 years ago. We ring it once for those of us here and now, not just in this room, on this campus, but those who are joining us online today via Zoom. We welcome you. And also once for those who will come, for all who will find belonging here with us and call the Monte Vista UU congregation their spiritual home in the days ahead. And one other warm welcome, if I may. We have Kathy Olson with us today, Dick Olson's wife. Where is she? There she is. Hi, Kathy. Good to have you here. And I've invited one of our new members to come up, new members to be, almost there, to come and light the chalice for us this morning. Come on, Bill. Our chalice lighting words are called A Spark of Hope, and they're written by Melanie Davis. She writes, "If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Using a spark of hope, we kindle this flame of love, we ignite the light of peace, and we feed the flame of justice." I know our masks are always a... Thank you. I invite you to stand as we sing together our favorite hymn. Can I say that? Our favorite hymn, number 123. When Ron Quinn was visiting, he stood in front and did the ASL steps. So what we have this morning is a video of those steps. So Lily, I need to ask you if you could play along with the video. The video goes a little bit slower than we tend to sing Spirit of Life, but for all who would love to engage with learning the sign language steps for Spirit of Life, I invite you to watch the video that's coming right up. Thank you, Jarius. Sorry. We're putting all kinds of... Here we go. Yeah, can you put it back to start, Jarius, please? I knew it would be an awkward thing, but we're used to awkward. Okay, go ahead, Lily. Go. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing. Covenant that we hold together as a spiritual community. And I asked Jarius to put those words up, but we also have them in our order of service if you'd like to refer to them here, but here they come. We affirm that love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth, its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve the world in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Letha, if you would come forward. Letha Comstock, our barefoot storyteller, which is a really good thing. Very California of us, isn't it? She's filling in for Robert, who isn't feeling well. And she'll be giving us our wisdom tale for today. It's called Hold On, and it's written by Robin Tanner, and she wrote it on November 16th of 2016. So try to remember where that's coming from. There you are.
And bear with me, I'm winging it. I only knew about an hour ago. Okay, holding on does not come easy to me. As a teenager who left home and bounced around, I became talented at escaping. I can evade like the best of them. I can leave when the words being spoken are not ones I like. I can hit the road when everything gets real. There are millions of reasons to head to Canada right now, but no. I'm here to stand in this mess and to stand for democracy. We must. We are exactly the ones we have been waiting for, ones made for a time such as this, gifted with all that we need to be able to hold on. I am not moving to Canada. I am not building a blanket fort. I am not blaming disenfranchised voters for this election. I am not mandating a proper and peaceful response. Instead, I am truly holding on. Hold on. It's a mantra for myself and for you if you would like to use it. I'm keeping my eyes on the prize of a land where we are the people. Is more than a broken promise of long ago. It is our promise now. I'm going to show up. I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to show up again. I'll hold on to listen to the unfolding story, the pain and the promise beneath the ashes or the labels. I'll hold on into the night, hold on in the streets and during the Sunday service. I'm here to bring what is good. I am voting for good. I am loving this country, and I have hope it is enough for us to hold on. And kids, join me. I think I have wine. Thank you very much. Welcome. You want to come get our chalice, please?
And Jarius, if you could put up the lyrics to our song as we sing the children out while I sip my tea. Go in love, our hearts go in. Our offering message today comes from our UUA president, Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, who invites us to meet the moment in her recent letter requesting support from the Friends of the UUA. She acknowledges our sense that we have been on high alert for so long now and that it has taken a toll on us. In the midst of the challenges we have all been facing, Susan tells us that she sees vitality in our ministry and in our movement. She writes about a life-giving energy that's in Unitarian Universalism now, and that we can sense flowing here as well. It comes from the shifting that we sense in both Boston and Montclair, as we find we must change the way things have been done in order to break down barriers and instead to put care compassion, inclusion, and justice, and a commitment to thriving at the center of all of our work. There is hope and vitality that is rising, and none of it could happen without the generous gifts of our community. For those who are struggling to meet their financial responsibilities right now, we hold hope for a better way forward in the days just ahead. For those who are less affected by the financial stress in these extraordinary times, we step in for you until the day comes, holding hearts full of hope. But those joining us online are invited to use the PayPal link that will appear magically in the chat from Jarius, and we thank you, Jarius, for that. Some in our sanctuary may wish to use their phones to connect to the donate button that's on our website, on our homepage of our website. But those who would like are invited to please come forward with your generous offerings and food donations for the Beta Center at the Inland Valley Hope Partners. It is with warm regard and deep gratitude that our offering will now be given and received. I have a little cheat sheet here up front. This is my monitor, so I get to see what the folks on Zoom can see. And they were watching Lily's hands play the keyboard. They weren't looking at what we have here in the sanctuary. So you would, I know. Those are the things we need to hear, because that's what the worship committee is working through with this beautiful new system. We want it to be very favorable for those who are here for worship. So change is always coming. We welcome it. We in this congregation love to share the things that are bringing us joy and the things that are a concern to us. And while I warn you that there may be some things in the sermon that will give you concern as we talk about voting, I also think we have so much joy as we come together each week, and we do appreciate the time we have together. One of the things that we have are those little yellow sheets of paper. If there was ever anything that you wanted to tell the congregation about your life, you can certainly write that on those yellow sheets before the service begins. But we don't get any this week. I will check the chat. I see there's some messages there. Oh, Donna Davis wrote, she has a joy. She has a kitten who is 10 weeks old, whose name is Daisy. Yeah, so we're happy for you, Donna. Good for you. I have a concern that I've shared in several meetings this week, so if any of you were with me on Zoom in those meetings, I apologize, and I'm not obsessing about this, but at the same time, for the whole congregation, I just want to let everyone know that my beloved George will be going into a surgery on Wednesday that's pretty tricky, but we're pretty optimistic that it's going to go well. Many of you know he's been in treatment for a tear in his retina. They've been using lasers to try to build like a spider web to stop the tear. And they're not happy that that's done all that it could do. So they're going to do surgery on Wednesday. And we're not sure if it's morning or afternoon yet. You know, they let you know the day before when to come. But I would appreciate all of you just keeping that in your prayers and thoughts and hearts for Wednesday. And of course, I offer that we all hold in our hearts a hope for positive outcome on Tuesday for the elections and safety for all of the voting venues. And I invite you to join me in a moment of prayer together, or meditation. I chose this one because I found it was written by the dean of Hendricks Chapel in Syracuse University, and I love when I have connections to my birthplace, my home in upstate New York, that I just learned is very close to where Bill is from. So this prayer comes from Dr. Brian Conkle. He titles it, A Prayer to Becoming Something Beyond What We Are. In a world that is both broken and beautiful, at a time that is both woeful and wonderful, There lives a dream among us, a dream to become something beyond what we now are. We call upon our source of wisdom, whatever that might be, as we seek the courage to draw closer to our best selves and closer to each other, to resist the temptation of isolation, to oppose the dangers of detachment, and to refuse the attraction of apathy. We yearn for a freedom that flows, not merely for a day of dreaming, but for a lifetime of healing. So in our celebration and in our deliberation, may we be reminded today and always that if we are close enough to debate, we're close enough to love. If we're close enough to erase, we are close enough to embrace. If we're close enough to cancel, we're close enough to console. And if we're close enough to put down, we're close enough to lift up. If we are close enough to oppose, we are close enough to care. So may we be so bold and so humble to learn from our past and to embody the abundant goodness of our present, and to embrace the faith that all things are indeed possible. This we all pray, to sustain this day and beyond, together, and amen. I invite you to stay seated as we sing together a gentle song. It's usually a pastoral type of hymn. This one was written by Reverend Rebecca Parker, and Beth Norton wrote the music. We've sung it a couple of times. I'm not sure all are familiar, but Jarius has a slide for us with the music for those who would like to sing out. There is a love. Beautiful. Thank you. Our reading today comes from Father Greg Boyle. Anybody a fan? Yay! He is celebrating his 50th year as a Jesuit priest. He is the founder and director of Homeboy Industries in Los Angeles. And he wrote this. It's his book called Forgive Everyone, Everything. This segment is called Opening Fists. I have learned from giving thousands of talks that you never appeal to the conscience of your audience, but rather introduce them to their own goodness. I remember in my earliest days that I used to be so angry. In talks, in op-ed pieces, in radio interviews, I shook my fist a lot. My speeches would rail against indifference and how the young men and women that I buried seemed to matter less in the world than other lives. I eventually learned that shaking one's fist at something doesn't change it. Only love gets fists to open. Only love leads to a conjuring of kinship within reach of the actual lives that we live. With the dawn of Election Day morning, less than 48 hours away, we pause together this morning and wonder what the outcome will be. What will we know then that hasn't been decided quite yet? We hope for the welfare of those who will be working and voting at the polls in just 2 days' time, and for the early voters at some sites. We hope for a number of surprising outcomes where the confirmed winners are people of integrity. We hope for ethical acquiescence from those without enough votes, and a smooth transition for newly elected officials and those who are re-elected to offices where they have served well. But beyond hope, we have worked. We have worked together to encourage voter turnout. We have researched the candidates and studied the propositions. And for those who have already submitted their ballots, we have voted. The journey that each of us take to the ballot box is unique and has been charted out by many forces that influence our lives throughout. Some we follow easily, some we oppose strongly, and some we wrestle with as our lives are changed by experience as time goes by. What we rest in is an ever-present, undeniable urgency that we all have to vote for good. Voting for good is the place where maybe we can let go of some of the division and the disdain that is tearing our country apart right now. And a bit closer to the heart, it's a division that is tearing families apart. And to admit my own failing here, I share a wee bit of my own election-centered heartache. I have been shaking my fist at my sister, just 13 months younger than I, and perhaps worse, my 91-year-old father, who both believe that our 45th president is a hero. But can I claim that I am a supporter of choice when I avoid conversations with my kin, my father, and I shake my fist at his choices that anger me? Can I claim that I affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process while I deny the validity of my own father's way of thinking? Like Father Greg Boyle, I'm tired of shaking my fist. It's not working. He writes, shaking one's fist at something doesn't change it. Only love gets to open fists. Only love leads to a conjuring of kinship within reach of the actual lives that we live. So can we choose to let go of the hatred that we've been stewing in because of choices that we cannot support? And I let my heartache shift from hatred and fist shaking to supportive choice for being a living example of freedom, compassion, and democracy. Because isn't it democracy that my father can vote for who he wants to vote for? But I want that radical kinship with my family again. And I have to be the healthier one, the one who's willing to embody that and offer it freely with compassion. Some of us like the teachings of Alan Watts. He's known for saying that the task of a liberated person is not to scold the world and to preach to it, but to delight it back to its senses. Or as Father Greg said, to introduce them to their own goodness. I remember that goodness in my dad. And although it's withered and unrecognizable, I must point him toward it. I must be the one to vote for good, not for hate, not for conspiracies that have been proven false, not for a pirated and derailed democracy. And we don't have to look far to witness the increase in fear. I feel afraid. We all feel afraid too when the Speaker of the House's husband can be attacked and nearly killed in his own home, by someone who believed that they were doing good? As many of our neighbors get more and more confident in their hate, more at ease with being mean, and more united in their separation, we hold tighter to our Unitarian Universalist principles and to each other. And we say, no, it's just wrong, and it's terrifying. But we must not co-create the hate and the separation that is so tempting right now. We have to remind one another to stay brave and to stay kind. We will not be bullied, but we will not become bullies ourselves. We will speak for real unity and for peace, no matter what. And no matter what, we must never stop loving. Because voting for good is what changes the world. I know that's a tall order, and I hear you. I hear my own gut. On top of it all, I'm supposed to change the world? Yeah, you are. And I'll share with you the words that I too long to hear. So I bring them to you. You already are. You already are changing the world. So with my ear to the ground, I hear many voices crying, and I hear hearts breaking. Some are breaking open. Some are breaking because they're getting harder and tighter and smaller like a walnut. But I hear fear and resignation taking its toll. I hear resolve caving in and the voices of strong ones beside me insisting that they are just bone-tired, exhausted. I sense trauma every day, I hear. I'm unable to sleep well, and I don't understand why. I'm already crying uncle. But yes, I know, I hear you. But it's not time to give up. Let's keep voting for good and choosing good in our lives each day, each moment of each day. Because we know what good is. We know the power of community, and we know that we can change the world for good. And I vote for that. You do too. James Baldwin teaches us about our capacity to create change, despite how things might look. He says this: "You write in order to change the world, knowing perfectly well that you probably can't, but also knowing that literature is indispensable to the world. The world changes according to the way people see it, and if you alter, even by a millimeter, the way you look at our reality, then you change it. We can change our reality by looking at it differently. We've done that together here many times over the past 2 years. We still have work to do. We still have healing to embrace, but we have changed so much about how our past wounds are carried. And we've changed how we see ourselves. And we are on track to change how we want our future to play out. Visiting friends notice the difference. We feel it ourselves. We know there is a refreshing wind that's blowing. We know that it comes from allowing change and reaching for a better way toward creating beloved community together, but not just in these walls, in all of our lives. And may it resonate out from our lives into the world. We vote yes to look hard at the things that have tripped us. We vote yes for continued strengthening change. And we vote yes for good. So may we trust in the promise of that beloved community that we form, made real by our passion to bring peace and justice here in our homes and in the world. May we all vote for good. Blessed be, and amen. Our sending song is one that I've been using every week because I realized, it's always been one that I love, but I realized it was written by a Unitarian Universalist who was the music director at Murray UU Church in Attleboro, Massachusetts. It's Go Lift It Up. So Lily, if you would lead us in that, you're welcome to stand as we sing. And then I'll have Bill, if you could come up and extinguish our chalice for us. Please use the little snuffer there that's in front. Yeah. If we blow the flame out, yeah, we could risk catching the fuel on fire. So thank you. And together, let's read the words. They're in the order of service, and I think, oh, Jarius has them here. Thank you, Jarius. Do a great job for us. If here you found freedom, take it with you into the world. If here you found comfort, go, offer it to others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. And if you believe in peace, go in peace and be makers of peace.